What is it that has endured over 3,000 years, was found at the top of Masada, an excavation below Jerusalem, has functioned in clandestine under the communist regime, is so vital to Jewish life that even a synagogue or Torah scroll may be sold to raise funds for its construction, and today is done in the most comfortable and beautiful manner.
Masada, when they barely had any water, they were fighting for their lives, and they discovered 2 mikvahs.
My grandmother, my great-grandmother would go in the middle of the night and have to break the ice down the well, but they still did it. It was non-negotiable. Every single dish, every single glass, every single piece of silverware went into the mikvah. There was just no question about it.
Wherever we are throughout history, mikvah has been center stage in Jewish life, always very private, but always there. If a community doesn't have enough funds for a mikvah, a Torah, and a synagogue, mikvah takes precedence over all of them. Jewish life cannot go on without a mikvah.
I always dreamed to have a mikveh in our very own community. This gives it a sense of a community, so people shouldn't have to travel far to keep this vital mitzvah.
When I moved here 30 years ago, it was very difficult to find a mikveh that was close enough to my house. I wanted to find a mikveh, but they were all far away, and as you may know, the preparation time is lengthy, and going to the mikveh takes time, and then leaving the mikveh, getting back home late at night. It was impossible for me, and I felt very bad about it. Now I'm glad to see that we have our own mikveh here in Patchogue, and that young newlywed couples will be able to partake of the mitzvah, and that some new young bride who moves out here to Suffolk County won't be in the position that I was in. And I also find the mitzvah of the mikveh to be very spiritually uplifting, and it's also something that all types of Jews can participate in, not just Hasidic, not just Orthodox, all types of Jews, because we have many types of Jewish people.
My son Joseph used to go to Hebrew school here. So every time I would come to pick him up, she would say, "We're gonna have a mikveh here soon, you should really come check it out." And I said, I'm really not ready for that right now. But I never really told her that I was so afraid of the water. So I came one day, I said, you know what, I'm gonna come to the mikveh and make it ready for me. So that night, I was getting ready to come, and in the last minute, I changed my mind. I didn't want to come. I was so scared, I was so nervous. But something, she convinced me, something she said, and I said, you know what, I have to do it. I made up my mind, I'm gonna go. So I went. And I went, and that's the best thing I ever did. It made me come over my fear. And this is now the second time I'm coming. And I hope I'm gonna come many more times. This helped me in many ways, not just in fear of the water. It helped me to overcome other things, spiritually, emotionally, that I'm going through at the time. And you really do feel happy, like you feel like a new woman when you come out. And I really wish that people who are like me, afraid and they don't know what, they should really come and give it at least one chance. And then they should make the decision from there.
And one day, I shared my thoughts with Jim Norris, who is a contractor, explaining to him what it is about. He got very excited about the idea and decided he's gonna go for it. This is no ordinary construction, and there are many halachic Jewish law specifications that need to be met.
Let's take a look inside and see what makes a mikvah. Mikvah means a gathering of stored water. To be kosher as a mikvah use, it must be natural water from a source, such as rainwater or a natural spring. This water must be gathered in a specific manner so the natural status is not invalidated by human intervention. It should also be 40 seah, or approximately 198 gallons, as has been determined by Jewish law to be enough for the average person to be able to immerse while being completely surrounded by water.
Here, rainwater was collected from the gutter through a channel that leads directly into the mikveh through this hole you see here.
The pool we are looking at is located directly above the mikvah, or rainwater. The rainwater is in a cistern below. Here you see the opening to where the rainwater is kept. The immersion pool is filled with regular tap water. When the waters above and below connect, or kiss as phrased in the Talmud, they become one, thus rendering the immersion pool a mikvah.
What makes it a mikvah? Its connection to natural waters. There are waters that are untouched by human fingerprints. They come straight from heaven through rainwater. Natural waters are never ending. They don't dry up. This is what we're tapping into, this reservoir of unending energy from Hashem.
In order to keep the mikvah clean and comfortable, it has been fitted with a heater and a filtration system, and the water is changed often. It is as good as any modern pool. Every detail of the construction has to comply with Jewish law. A solid gathering would not have any leaks. The walls here are 1 foot thick of solid cement. All the pipes had to be set in place before the cement was poured. So what is the mikvah for? Mikvah immersion is used in progression from one spiritual state of being to another. It is intuitive for us to think of water as a purifying agent. However, it is the process of preparation, an act of submersion into the water that purifies, not the water itself. Mystical teachings explain that to progress from one level to another, there has to be a state of nothingness in between. Like a seed, when planted in the ground, must first disintegrate and lose its original form before it will begin to sprout. To change a spiritual status, one must first lose or nullify one's previous state. In fact, the letters of the Hebrew word for nullification, bittul, can be rearranged to spell tevila, immersion. So who uses the mikvah? Historically, the entire Jewish people were commanded to immerse as a preparation before receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai. Much like then, when the Hebrews became the Jewish people, today, mikvah is probably most widely known as the final step in the conversion process. This is a rebirth of sorts when a convert acquires a new soul. In biblical times, the Kohanim, or priests, were required to immerse before performing service in the temple. This practice is suspended until the temple will be rebuilt. Food utensils are also initially immersed before using. Many men will choose to use mikvah as a preparation before Shabbos or holidays. This is, however, a custom, and no blessing is recited. There are separate mikvahs built for men. The most important use of mikvah today is by married women, beginning as a bride and following her monthly cycle thereafter. The Jewish woman has been entrusted to keep the laws of family purity on behalf of herself and her husband. The performance of this special mitzvah is accompanied by a blessing and is a unique opportunity for a personal prayer. There is much to learn about this mitzvah, which invests a Jewish marriage with godliness and sanctity.
Here, we try our best to ensure that the user will have a clean, safe, and comfortable experience while doing this great mitzvah.
Every mitzvah individually has so much strength to it. So every time you choose to go to the mikvah and tap into this divine energy, you're bringing a gift to yourself and to your family.
Poor Mendel is building the whole mikvah by himself.
I'll just stand here. I'll be fine watching.
Get to work!